Okay, so today's lesson is 6.12 Polyhedrons of grade 3 everyday math. This is a parent help video to give you an idea of what's happening in our classroom. So today we have 3 vocabulary words we're going to talk about, and this goes along with lesson 611 where we introduced a lot more vocabulary words. So the first vocabulary word is a rectangular prism, and this is a rectangular prism here. So it has four sides here, okay, and it has a base on either end that it would sit on, okay, and the base would be the exact same, and it's going to be a rectangle, or a square is a special kind of rectangle. So this is a square shape, but it could be elongated to be the kind of rectangle most of us are familiar with. These are the faces on the side. The faces are rectangular, and there are 4 of them, four sides of a rectangle. And so that's a rectangular prism. The next one is a triangular prism. Triangular prism, the base is going to be triangular, okay? And there are 3 faces that are rectangles, okay, that connect the triangles together. This is a triangular prism. And then there's a hexagonal prism, and you can probably see the word hexagon in there. So the base of a hexagonal prism is a hexagon, which means it has 6 sides. And again, the faces are going to be, the faces are these like sides, these flat sides here. These are also rectangles, and they connect both the top and the bottom. So those are the 3 new vocabulary words that we are working with today. And you can see there's a little diagram here. And this is the reference book for grade 3 everyday math, page 117. It has a 3D drawings of the prisms here: a triangular prism, a rectangular prism. It also has a pentagonal prism, which is five sides, a pentagon on each base, and a hexagonal prism. So you can see that the bases are the tops and the bottoms, and the faces, okay, are what are right around the sides there. So those are the vocabulary words that we're working with today. We want students to be able to compare faces on the prisms. So we want to be able to talk about the different faces on the prisms, and we want them to recognize what the different faces are. That these faces are all rectangles. They might be bigger or smaller depending on the size of the bases here. We also want them to identify faces of other polyhedrons, basically of any polyhedron that we have. And remember, we worked with polyhedrons a little bit the other day. And a polyhedron, it's a solid whose surfaces are all flat and formed by polygons. It's basically a 3D shape, is a polyhedron that has flat surfaces. So these are some examples of polyhedrons, and you can see that the faces are different shapes. Okay, different shapes, different polygons that students would know. For example, in this rectangular pyramid, the face is going to be a triangle. Okay, in the prisms, the faces are going to be rectangles. And then there's some other regular polyhedrons where the faces are all the same shape. So you can kind of see that there. We want students to be able to identify and name the prisms, and they can do that by knowing what the bases are. So in this case, the base is a hexagon, it's a hexagonal prism. In this case, the base is a triangle, so it's the bases are triangles, so it's a triangular prism. Okay, in this case, this base is a square, but we want students to know a square is a special kind of rectangle, so it's not a square prism, it's a rectangular prism. Okay, that's the vocabulary term we want students to know. So we want them to be able to identify and name those. And we also want them to be able to identify the faces, right, which are these flat sides, the edges, which are where the points come together, all right, and where the faces meet, actually. So where the faces meet and where it's like a straight line on the edge. It's one thin line here. So this is the edges. And the vertices, which are the corners, basically where these 3 lines converge. Okay, that's a vertice here, the corners of the prisms. We want them to be able to count how many faces. So in this case, there would be 1, 2, 3, 4 faces. How many bases? 1, 2. How many edges? Okay, they'd have to go and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, and then how many vertices? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Be able to count and identify all of those pieces. And that's basically what we're working on in this lesson. As far as how you can support this at home, please continue to use these vocabulary words with your kids. See where you can find these different sorts of polyhedrons, these different sorts of shapes in your daily lives. Where do they come up? Have them count the faces on things. Have them count the edges. Have them count the vertices. All right, and use that terminology. They might even have a set of blocks or in their toys that come up at home, or if they're working with a younger sibling, they might be able to be doing an activity with the younger sibling, while you're sort of facilitating this sort of shape activity with them. It's really good just for the exposure. Anytime and any opportunity you can find to use these words with them and identify these concepts. So this is lesson 612, Polyhedrons of grade 3 everyday math.